Now for part 2 of my interview with John Balzarini. But that, so I mean, Bastards starts to morph then at this point into, we're just transitioning here, Bradford Trojan and Traffic Jam. And we just kept kind of rolling, it was like, well, we're going to keep playing. I remember even Scott Weaver started playing in that group. And, I remember even some Bastards shows, I started writing a little bit, and then it was like, oh, we're going to do, we'll play a few songs set, after Bastards or something, and just have us change up and everything. But I remember, Scott Weaver first playing drums. One of the first shows we did, you, me, Scott Weaver, Justin Stenz popped in on guitar, and then that all changed around once Weaver left, and Stenz jumped on drums. Then Zach Miller jumped into second guitar.
Right.
And then we started doing, and at this point, I think I was pretty much at this point. No, I was also still back and forth, because I remember we were even practicing.
Wait. You're going very quickly here.
I did. I jumped. You know what? I jumped really fast here.
If we're going to spend so much fucking time talking about goddamn Civil War reenactment guy, let's at least talk a good band.
We're also allowed to edit this podcast,
Oh, we can get this out in post? We can get rid of this shit in post?
We can get it in post, man.
Can I make a suggestion? Don't edit it. Don't even edit this shit.
Don't edit it? It's going to be a long show.
Well, you know what? Let these people put on their big boy pants.
Maybe big boy pants.
Put on their big girl pants.
This might be another two-parter.
Hey, it might be a two-farter. We might stink up the room. I don't care. Let's do it. Well, that really tickled you.
I like that one a lot. I cannot believe my ears and what I'm hearing. I don't believe that.
The way I remember all this, right? So, yes. Bastards breaks up. Well, we're going to break up. So we have a last show. And to me, it was like Scott McMicken is, I think, playing punk shows and being around punk environments and that kind of stuff. It's not always that fun. Punk's
true.
It's pretty difficult to be around. Yes. And it's not, you're standing around with a bunch of assholes who are spitting and, blowing snot and always trying to be meaner than the next person next to them. So, that didn't always feel great to me either, but I was a little more cut for it than he was. And I think, there was a certain point where he was just, it's like he's starting to move into the direction that he would eventually go. And then, like you said, Weaver was going to hit the Appalachian Trail and just disappear in the woods. And what I remember is you went to Tucson and recorded 4 songs. Like you had been working on stuff, and you went out to Tucson and you played with people like Dimitri and Ryan out there. Was it Ryan?
On that record it was Nathan,
4 songs. Nathan
right? It was his studio. It was at when he first did that. Dimitri, Ryan, a couple other guest folks that were out here, and
so you had your little 4-song thing, and then you came back to Philly with it.
But I also have to say, before that, like a year before, we did 5 songs as the Bastards playing Traffic Jam in Jersey. My dad had a friend that recorded us. There's a couple on my on my Bandcamp that I took from that, like kind of demos. They didn't. Their quality's not fantastic, but we recorded 5 songs there.
I gotta hear that.
Yeah, and so that happened, but it was definitely more like very demo quality. When I hit Tucson, it was like the first studio, like very. Yeah. I mean, Nick Rotundo had it down good, but I remember Nathan's was like, "This is great." He's just a master engineer and producer, and had it really dialed in. So I did those 4, and then I remember coming back and was like, let's do it. Let's go for it here. And, we just started going off of that. I think that makes, I remember, you're right. That is what happened. And then
because Scott Weaver was gone for a while.
Yes.
And he literally was just like gone for months and months and months. And then he did play. He was the first drummer of Traffic Jam. and then he moved away. So he played a couple shows with us. I think we played like the Unitarian Church in Philly with him on drums.
Yeah.
And then I think Justin Stenz was playing guitar at the time.
Yes.
Isn't there a show like that? I remember that show.
There was one at the East. There was one at the East End, and then the
maybe the East End too.
By the time Unitarian Church, and I think when we started doing that, then it was Stenz was on drums and Zach. It was like the lineup we had, you know.
Yeah, that was the main lineup, right? When Zach became the second guitarist and did what he did, that plugged it in. That was awesome.
I remember for that playing at that point we were doing a lot of well, I remember taking with that EP, I really like rode that out, man, and I started trying to book like the main clubs in Philly, you know, at the time was really like wheeling and pushing it. It was pushing it. And you had to be your own booker then. We didn't have anyone doing that. So I had to just like at that point send in physical CDs. This was also still pre MP3 and all that. So it was sending in CDs, calling, trying to get through to someone, and eventually, landing shows as like opening act for like Khyber, North Star Bar, Fire, these. Yeah,
that's right. Well, I mean, that's the thing too. In Bastards, when you came in the band, not only were you great at playing and you like elevated the band, but you were like willing to talk to people. McMicken and I, like Scott Weaver's a quiet dude, and McMicken and I are like the guys over in the corner, like giving everybody mean looks, at least back then, and drinking their beer. It just was like we could not make friends and book shows. And then you joined the band and you were like booking shows. You were getting us shows at places and you were talking about it, and you were like advertising, for lack of a better word. It's a crass word, but you were like saying, this is what we're doing, you should give us a thing. And so I feel like you had this like head full of steam.
I did. And
you were like a person who booked shows anyway before being in the
started
band.
Doing that in high school when I was
you did it out in New Jersey, right? The Cooper River shows and stuff. So you were already a person who booked shows. Then you were booking for Odd Normal, and you were booking for Unleash the Bastards, and you were like getting us really good shows. And then when Traffic Jam took over and that became what we were doing, you were just like, it was already rolling and you were already really good at it, and you knew how to do it, and you were you were unabashed. You were just like, no, we should play. And it's just like, but this is a funeral. No, we're playing this. Don't you get it? We're the perfect band for your child's funeral. No, it's like, that's how you kind of work.
Dead German
I remember
baby.
We were just at stuff where it was just like, we were playing Traffic Jam shows, and I was just like, how the hell are we here? And it's just like, you talk your way into it. So I feel like you really like, you were such an important cheerleader for Bastards, and you made that happen so much more. And then when we started doing your songs with Traffic Jam, it just was like, it just took off with that. Well, took off. It didn't take off. We didn't do anything, but to me, it took off because like the level of shows we started playing, like the Khyber, the Fire, and the North Star, and places like that. And just like you said, we would like start on a Monday night, and then you'd tell everyone, come here, so you could get a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Please come again. And then you get a Wednesday night. And eventually you get those coveted Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night shows,
Oh my God. Those were
you just had to grind it out. I felt like, and that was cool too, because that's what Raccoon was doing. Mm-hmm. And it was also how we met the Teeth. And it just felt like what they were doing. So we were all like grinding for that Thursday, Friday, Saturday show. And we were just like hustling for that. And eventually we would never have done that without you being up there just going like, you should book us. Because that's the other thing too, is Traffic Jam, we played everywhere. If there was like an instrument plugged in, you were just like, well, hey, I'm in a band. And it was just like, balls, get over here.
I remember
travel across town to just play somebody's like apartment.
I remember one in Jersey, and this is to kind of like this is to try and pop my bubble a little because I booked us a show at a coffee shop, and it was in Jersey, and like it was just so not what we shouldn't have been there. It was like all our huge amps at the time. I had like a Sovtek Russian, stack.
It was like a half stack.
Yeah, I was like, this is insane for like this coffee shop where there wasn't really anyone at in Jersey, in this like total weird place in New Jersey. And
I remember doing that at Fume too in West Philadelphia, like having too much gear for Fume.
Yeah, this is like too much for what the place, and and then also like Bar Noir. Remember this place in Philly?
Bar
it's like
Noir, right,
it's just like some weird setup shows where it's like this doesn't really fit. Like we're too loud. And eventually, I remember downgrading my amp and getting a smaller, amp.
I think Bar Noir literally just said, "You guys are way too loud."
They did. They said we're too loud. They're like, you got to turn down. But then there was some of these other shows that were actually like really, like the Kyber. You're talking about that, and I just remember some of those weekend shows there that were like awesome, just super rad.
Yeah, those were really, really great. I mean, that was the thing too. It was that, we were playing with Raccoon all the time. And
and
with the teeth as often as we could. And if we were able to join up, then we could get, a fair amount of people out. I feel like we played the Fire every 2 weeks. And
that was
the
definitely
Fire
like
to me was like, it wasn't as, like as prestigious a place. I don't know. That's not the right word, but like it always felt like, the Kyber was like, the better venue. Mm-hmm. But boy, we had a great time at that fucking Fire, man. And they let us do what we wanted, and they liked letting us play there, and they gave us free drinks, and the sound guys weren't too much of assholes. It's like, what more are you going to ask for, quite frankly?
I felt like the Fire was our like a home base in Philly that really helped us.
Yeah, totally.
With Derek Dorsey and just getting us like
Derek,
going. And
he was a really nice guy.
And playing, and that was a lot of fun. I just remember just sometimes like we'd be hitting these shows and go out, and I had an old 1984 Ford LTD that we were kind of using as the bandmobile, and it was pretty big, and so we could really fit, I think, everything in there. And once going out to like Bethlehem for a Teeth show, and it's winter for something.
You motherfucker, you ran out of gas.
Yeah, ran out of gas. Ran out of gas. I should have just filled the tank. Whether that was just, who knows? I should have filled the tank. Should have filled the freaking tank.
I remember that.
And we just waited.
We did get to that show though, and we played it. Show. It was great. It was super fun. We did it
and made it happen, and did it. But yeah, that was like, those were some really good shows. I mean,
how did you feel about that? Because you were like the front, right? So this is where you go to be like, you're the front person, and you're kind of the band leader at this point in time, and you were already hustling for other bands, but like, I don't know, how did that feel to you? Because it kind of got better, and it kept accelerating a little bit.
Yeah, it was like a funny thing. I remember I almost would have to like it was like a split personality thing where I'd have to be the performer, but then I would also, and I think a lot of people do this when they're hustling their art and bands, when they don't have someone promoting for them, you have to like kind of divide the people in there and you're inside and say like, this person's the promoter, and they're just like, you have to be detached. It's like, I'm going to be detached, and like, I want to get this show, but I need to use this part of me to try to book it and like get the show and hustle it. And then this other side where it's like, I just want to play my music, Yeah. And it's, I do have that, I think I just have that disposition where I am like, promoting and, just like can engage with people in that way. But it's also, I think I would definitely get a little high on it. I think, as far as like, this is great. I booked it, I got it. And then we do the show. But there's, at the same time, I felt the pressure. I felt the pressure of this thing is kind of moving and rolling, and it's like getting some momentum. And like, I mean, we're not talking about like otherworldly success, but like, enough where it's like there was a name in Philly that was there. And
You can see us in the city paper. That was like a real treat. You pick up the city paper and you'd see your name as an upcoming show. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, and people wanted to come out and see us, and we also just again had this like community of the bands playing, but I definitely felt like that was the first time I was fronting something. Before it was like I would have some songs and Unleash the Bastards, and but this was like, okay, this is my band, and so it became the pressure, I think, of just knowing that like I'm responsible for you guys, and I want this to be a really good show. I want it to be in a good place. You want to like people are putting time and energy in, so you want the guys that are playing with you to feel like they're worth.
Yeah, of course. Well, and the reason I was asking that is because, kind of leading up to this, I was kind of trying to think about like the positionality and just how easy it was for me to just, go to the show and get drunk. Right. And we practiced all the time.
We did.
We played all the time. So
we did.
I felt confident in us playing. Right. I never felt like, we haven't worked on that enough. We worked a lot as a band. In fact, I don't think I've ever worked more in a band than with Traffic Jam. Just like we always practiced, we always played. Again, we would just be at a party together and there would be instruments, and then suddenly it's a Traffic Jam show. So we were playing all the time, and people would like, we'd have a practice during a party, and then that would be a show, stuff like that all the time. But for me, it's just trying to think back at like give yourself some kind of context and position in where you were. And it's just like, for me, it was just like I could just go be drunk. And I think I can't speak for Justin, but I imagine it was similar to him. Obviously, Zach at the time was not the same kind of booze hound we were. And then you were the one who would like had to introduce, here, we're this, and then deal with, if there was any money, I don't know, you would have to deal with that. And, be the front person and the performer. And, in some ways, herd the children. And I'm one of the children. I'm one of the children.
But this became a time where it was tougher to navigate all these things that had to get navigated because I was leading the band in that way. And like, I have to deal with the money and the, whatever it's coming in, booking another one or talking, just having to represent.
Yeah. Making sure you play well enough so that they invite you back kind of crap.
Totally, man. Yeah. But, whatever. It was still a lot of fun. And what was your favorite play other than the fire? Do you remember anything from that period that stood out? I just, for me, that period of time was awesome because it just felt like you were at a show all the time. It was part of the kind of musical partnership because everybody's trying to hustle to get a better gig, and you're always getting these shitty Tuesday night shows that are miserable. They're just not good nights to play a show at any place, really. So you got to show that you can bring in enough people that whoever books these dumb things can, justify bringing you to that Wednesday night. And that is a bad show too. So, it was just kind of amazing and fun. I like the camaraderie of the whole thing, the way I remember it, at least. In between, just like being drunk at a bar, which it also was a big part of it for me, obviously, but just like, Raccoon's playing tonight, so we're going here, and then we're playing tonight, so we'll be here, and this and that. And I don't know, it just felt like it was, of the places, it was like the Khyber, the Fire, and once in a while the North Star. And that was just, I thought that was really cool how, it wasn't a scene. It was just people supporting bands they liked who they were friends with. And then there was the friends of the friends and the friends of the friends who kind of made it even bigger and bigger. And it was kind of amazing. We had a couple of cool shows at the Khyber and the North Star that, like, the biggest shows I've ever played. It's not like
we've spent this whole night talking about like being in bands and playing and stuff, and it's just like, you know, I'm a professor, I'm a nobody, I'm not actually, you know, it's like, you know, it's like there's like a kind of a point where you got to remember that, you know, it's you maybe 100 people at one point in time, or 80 people, that would have been huge, you know.
Yeah.
So and I feel like some of those North Star shows once or twice where it was a bunch of us together,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all for one for all kind of thing,
Yeah.
where we could bring in those big crowds. And it was just, to me, it was just great. It felt great to, you know, play well. And I don't know, I remember being very confident in that music. Like, I think you were writing great songs, and I think they were really fun. And I think they were really easy for people to like. Like they're really fun, easy songs. And easy is not derogatory in this way. I mean, it's like they were catchy and they were interesting, and you were like a great front person. Like you were able to just, you know, you were like, I don't know, I can't describe it. You were kind of, you know, beyond unique. It was just like the Bradford show in some ways. So, that was such a hook for it, you know, and it was nice to not have to, for me at least, not have to like be talking in between songs when people are tuning or doing stuff. Like with Unleash the Bastards, like, oh god damn it,
right? Yeah, it was
tuning, and I gotta like sit up here and say something, or somebody's gotta. It always was like, I'm not good at that, and I don't want to do it. You are excellent in those like spaces in between. You are like, you can lead the show, but you're also really good at the spaces in between those little cracks. And
it's fun doing that.
You're good at it, and you like doing it. You know, you can tell when somebody likes doing it, and I think that goes off a lot better.
Here, I'll play a little from one of the songs we recorded.
This one.
Yeah, wait, I was going to try and nail it a little bit. Here we go. Let's fade into it. This one was a song about the end of the Bastards.
Yes, I was thinking about how this is like this is your I Will Survive.
I Will Survive.
This is your I Will Survive, the Gloria Gaynor song, right? This is literally like you broke up with Unleash the Bastards, and this is, you know, I Will Survive.
We'll get through it. I'm
going to get through it. That's yours. It just occurred to me today when I was like listening to this and thinking about it, and I was like, Jesus, that's what was.
It's funny too that batch of songs that batch of songs recorded at Maja Studios. We did like. In retrospect, it's basically a live studio album. I realize that's what it's called.
Totally.
It's called a live studio album. And so that one was done at Maja Studios, which basically was a live studio album. And I'm realizing in hindsight, I was trying to cram it all in. You know, I was like, we're going to record 12 songs in a day. And like, if I had done it differently now, what I would have done would have been, we would have recorded some of those songs in a day.
And then some of the songs in another day.
And some of the songs in another day. And we could have done overdubs and stuff. But It was a live studio album. It was like
Wait.
it was it. Yeah.
Do you remember where the money came from to pay for this one day of recording?
I feel like this is so. I didn't even want to bring it up. What happened was because...
Well, I clearly do.
Well, because in one of these other shows here, I was talking to my buddy here in town, and he was talking about Battle of the Bands, and he was asking, and then he asked me, do I have any Battle of the Bands stories? So I was like, well, I kind of do.
Yeah.
We can talk about it again in this show.
We got to do this.
People can get a double dip in here.
This is great.
Well, here's a question that I actually...
This is part of... But this gives context for why we did it this way, right? It is completely stupid to try to record 12 songs for your album, including a couple overdubs. And the overdubs weren't the correct mistakes because we didn't have time for that. The overdubs were like for here and there backing vocals and maybe a keyboard or piano part. Like there was no time for anything. The reason why we did it this way is we had made, what was it, like $500 from a Battle of the Bands?
Yes.
And so Zach Miller, the keyboard player for Dr. Dog, is the guitar player for Traffic Jam. He's the guy who brings in all that amazing layered, textured... I'm telling the audience, Bradford.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I know what he did.
So Zach was like,
is that what he was doing all those years?
Zach did all this amazing guitar stuff. He's
really good guitar stuff.
Zach really like the way you made Unleash the Bastards kind of a full band. To me, Zach made Traffic Jam the full band. He brought in the final piece that made that band exactly what it needed to be, and it was so much better than anyone, as far as I'm concerned, anyone could have even thought it could be because of what he did.
I agree.
Zach, if I remember right, entered both Traffic Jam. He was still at Westchester. He entered Traffic Jam and Dr. Dog, with whom he was just starting to play with in the Battle of the Bands. and if I remember correctly, Traffic Jam won. I think we beat. This is the one. Look, Dr. Dog is a world famous band of incredible musicians with a catalog of incredible songs. Traffic Jam won that one Battle of the Bands, and we're going to keep that.
We'll always have Battle of the Bands.
That one stupid Battle of the Bands with those idiot judges.
The weird thing with that is, and this is what I don't remember, is, and so Zach was at Westchester, and he was the way to submit.
He submitted
those
both
two
bands
because he was in them, and he had to be a student there. But what I don't remember is this. I remember we played Battle of the Bands, and then we had to come back for like a finals round. Do you remember that?
I don't.
So what we did was there was, I think this is what happened. I'm pretty sure that we had to go and do like a finals round where it was just a few, like narrowed down to a few bands. I think we should ask Zach on that, about that one. I think that's what happened, but it was insane. It was just like weird judges and.
Well, it was also Dr. Dog before Dr. Dog had become like they had become fully realized.
Right. It wasn't a fully formed version.
Yeah.
in that way.
Let's also make it clear that when we're talking about that version of Dr. Dog, it was awesome. Yes. But it was still not the Dr. Dog most people are familiar with.
But we were hungry, and we had been playing a lot, and so we were. There was actually, you know what happened? I do remember this. I was doing the show with Pig Iron Theater, so I was kind of on hiatus from the band, and for a little bit, just focusing on that show. And then this happened, and I remember I drove down for that one show. I don't even know if we practiced, but we did it, and we were just like so kind of dialed in from, I think, just playing all the shows before that.
Played a lot.
Just hit it. And we were hungry for that chunka.
That huge $500.
It was big, and then we knew we could record with it, and just bit off more than we could chew.
I have thought about this many times about this, the ill-fated Traffic Jam,
the Mahjong live album. Yeah, but here's the thing:
it's good in a lot of ways.
It is good in a lot of ways, but if you consider it a live studio album,
100%.
That's what finally hit me over the past couple years. I realized if I just realized that it's a live studio album, it's okay.
So I just listened to it to, kind of prep for this thing, and that's exactly the conclusion I came to, is that it can't be thought of as like an actual like studio recording, because it really isn't.
It's not.
We just basically recorded a band practice where we ran through our entire set, but recorded it. And instead of recording it on like, a janky, tape 4-track, we recorded it in a really nice studio, and we paid some guy to do it. We paid Carl to do it. It was like, so there's like elevation to it, but in no way, shape, or form does it sound like an actual like record that you would have done in a studio.
That's
so
true.
I agree with you 100% that when you think about it as just like this is a live recording of a band, it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
It sounds really, really awesome when you think about it in that context. We both did the same thing. It was like you just had to come to terms with what it actually was.
You have to just know what it is, and that's it. And so here we'll just throw another one in the mix here, here we go.
On my pages and my pen's running dry. It's not my fault. It's just a sign of the times. No, no, no. My fingers are sore and my lips are chapped. Lying next to you, I don't wanna feel sad. Maybe not tonight, no, it's the weather. Maybe not tonight, and tomorrow looks better. Seasons change in the time of May. This whole month is ours. This whole month is ours. This whole month is ours. This whole month is ours.
And am I wrong? But Toby and Scott are in there too as backup vocalists, right?
They came for the day and ended up playing. They're doing backups on some of these. Tobe was one of them. He's doing mandolin. Scott's playing on the one "Cause Your Mind" that he wrote. And I started just like, I might have written a little, but I think basically he wrote it, and then it was like I just kind of took it. That was that one in Honolulu, another one of Scott's songs, which is that became like a traffic jam, basically.
Well, again, let's make it really clear for the tens of 12 listeners. Tens of people. We tried to record 12 songs in like 8 or 10 hours.
Yeah,
it was just like
I bet you it was $50 an hour. And it was 10 hours.
There you go. That's exactly, that must have been what it was.
That's probably it.
We did no more than 2 max on a couple of them, 3 takes for these songs.
Yeah, it was insane.
There was no overdubs. Yeah. So if there's bum notes, if a drum part doesn't quite hit, sorry, Justin, there are a couple drum parts that don't quite hit. It's like everybody messes up somewhere on this. And there was just like, we don't have time. Yeah, there's no time to deal with this. Keep going.
It was so frantic. It was just so frantic.
It's crazy. Nobody does that because it's a terrible idea. But we only had $500. We had $500 from winning some stupid geeky battle of the bands, and that was it.
You know what?
That was the only money.
You know what we should have done? If I could do it again, I would have taken that $500 and I would have paid Scott to record us on the Tascam.
Yeah.
I would have rather us had a home.
Yeah, it would have sounded cool too.
It would.
I'll bet that would have been balanced a lot more. When I listen to those Maja recordings too, there's like some stuff that has all that like really sharp, like fancy recording studio stuff, and then other stuff that just doesn't come through very well. I'll bet if we had just done it on that Tascam 8-track, that quarter-inch reel-to-reel, it would have sounded a little more lo-fi, but everything would have been dialed in perfectly. Everything would have been on the right level.
Yeah.
I'll bet we would have been a lot happier with that. You're right.
I think so. I realized also that was that studio. It was.
Fuck studios like that. studio.
it just
Carl
wasn't.
is awesome. Carl was
Carl's
a really
great.
nice
It just
guy.
wasn't the right place for us, and it was.
You go into studios like that, and it's like a
Yeah.
fucking dentist's office. It's
Yeah.
clean and sterile, and it's
Mhm.
cold. And I don't know, maybe some people walk into that shit and feel really impressed by it, and maybe I was at first, but god damn it, you cannot get soul out of a place that is so sterile and cold
Ye-
and rigid and clean and boring.
And well, I also realized that at the time they were saying they did a lot of voiceover recordings there, and I realized that the studio was built for that. And now I've done some voiceover stuff in the acting world. That
now you're like, yeah,
and I
you get it.
realized that is a whole different operation than recording
Right.
music. And
Well,
so
that's kind of what Carl was doing. He was just sneaking in there on the weekends
Yeah, he would
and
get
like
to
make
use
an
it
extra
yeah.
scratch with dumb bands like us. Oh, these kids got $500. Oh, I'll take your money.
I'll take it. I'll record you real good. I'll get you a good
But
sound.
I have thought about this for years too, because I think we both share this. I think, and I'll bet Zach would too. But I don't know. I don't want to speak for him
Yeah.
or Justin.
Yeah.
But god damn, I'm totally into thinking about it as a live thing, and it captures a lot of the energy of the live show, which I think is what we did well.
That's true. Yeah.
God damn, we were firing on all cylinders. We were really well rehearsed.
Yeah.
We had played together for a long time. We were all playing well together. If we had just, instead of doing it in one day, done it in 4.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If we had just done it
Yes.
if only money had appeared out of the sky
Yeah.
and quadrupled our budget,
Yeah.
and we had done it in 4 days, we could have I think we could have made a pretty cool little album, because the songs were awesome.
Yeah.
I think we could have ironed out all the little details and fixed the stuff. Because I don't know. Like I listen, it doesn't matter what it is. When I was saying this to my wife, Kim, when I listen to something I've played on, 50% of it, I'm just hearing the mistakes I made. And then I'm just hearing the other 50%. I'm just kind of thinking, oh God, you could have done that a little better. And this isn't like, oh, poor me, but because I hear the parts I like and I think I did well, but then you hear the stuff and you're just like, God damn, man, I could have done that better. I wish I'd just done that better. Wish I'd sung that better. I wish I'd played that better. I just wish we'd hit that mark a little tighter and a little better, because we could have.
Yeah.
So it's always felt like a missed opportunity with that one. We were hot and we were fired up and we were playing well and we played a lot, and it's
it's one of those things that it's one of those things. Let's have a moment of silence.
Well, it's not really to lament this. It's just.
Well, it's one
but
of those
when you think about what you, it's like, I don't know, and maybe it's pretentious, but it's the art. It's like what you put your time into it, you put your energy into it, and it's like for each of us. Like I remember your process. I remember how frenetic and obsessive and kind of compulsive you were about playing and writing and thinking, and it'd just be like you'd have an idea about like a solo and like, what do you think? And then you keep working on, like, that's energy, that's enthusiasm, and I think there's a lot that is valuable about that. And I can think back to myself about just hours and hours sitting there playing these songs on my bass, practicing and going, well, maybe it can be this, maybe it'd be this. It was time and it was energy and it was important to us at the time. And I think that's enough. Like the fact that it was important enough to us at the time, who gives a shit what anyone else thinks? It mattered to 4 people.
That's true.
And that's in and of itself as good as anything else to me, and I just felt like that recording, I'm really happy to listen to it again because I like it a lot more than I used to. I remember feeling very much let down by it. Like, I don't know, like I just thought, oh yeah, I was with you. I thought we could just do 12 songs and we can make them sound great because we are so well practiced and we got this together. Nobody can do that. like, like what is that? You're not going to do 12 songs in 10 hours and all this shit. It doesn't.
It's insane. It was insane.
Sense.
It was crazy mad dash to try and do it. And, you know, but that was also like, we did that after, I remember that being a late spring. I remember exactly the timeline. It was late spring 2003. And then, you know, I was like, I was already like,
you were on your way out.
I was on my way out. Yeah. At that point it was like, I remember that summer, I was just like, I hit a point where I was like, I'm lost. You know, I felt lost. Yeah. Something needed to change drastically. And so then it was like, then started the Tucson era, but it was kind of a little process over the months of doing that, getting out there, coming back, still doing some of the theater stuff. And then, I remember our last show, that like the reunion show, which was just like a few months after I left, and it was a Christmas time or like, you know, winter time at the North Star with us, the Teeth, Dr. Dog, or Raccoon. No, Dr. Dog, and then
maybe and Raccoon.
And maybe Raccoon. I forget what it was, but that was kind of like a great, awesome. I remember at that one taking when I started really up in the ante and putting stuffing fruit inside stuffed animals and taping them lightly and then throwing it out to the audience.
If I remember, it had to have been organic fruit. I feel like the organic part was probably pretty important.
Very important, you know, to throw this out to a bunch of drunk people and
well, they were such nice drunk people, you know.
They were super
like
nice.
If you had done that at a different type of show, they would have decorated the walls with it.
Yeah, it could have been terrible, but this was very sweet. I'm sure a lot of people kept those animals and ate the fruit. It's great. Get a good blood sugar bowl.
Let me ask you a heavy question. Can I?
Oh boy, yeah.
Can I do this?
Tables have
turned.
So
you were saying I was feeling very lost.
Yeah.
This is not something I've necessarily wondered about because I probably have a pretty good idea about it. But let's see if this makes for. Let's see if we get you some likes here on this podcast. Let's see if we get something juicy here. So, you know, at the end of Traffic Jam, we were playing well. We were getting good shows. We recorded, but you were feeling lost. You weren't feeling with it anymore. What was bringing that on? Like, you want to think back and give that to us? What was it? Like, and what I mean is, like, give us some of that honest shit.
The honest shit.
The band stuff. Like, if the band stuff was something, let's tell the tens of 13s of people who will be hearing this. Let's tell them. Let's see. And that includes me.
Well, we were all sleeping with each other, and
if only.
Stens was a werewolf, so it was dangerous on full moon shows.
God damn, he was a werewolf.
No, he was great. It was, what happened was, honestly,
I don't mean you need to indict anybody. I'm just trying to let's talk about that.
No, I hear it. I think it's good to like get into it in that way. And what I really feel was at the heart of all of that was my kind of like, what I realize now being out west is like a kind of a claustrophobic feeling in the city. The winters, I think literally just like for me, environmental, you know, kind of just being more of a sensitive guy, but like the environmental factors played a big part, you know, just being in a congested, you know, kind of fast paced area. As a part of it, I'd say as a part of it, I also think, and this is just to say now because I think it's a lot different, but I was kind of like a little nutty. I think I was Amanda jokes about it. She's like, you know, you were crazy when I met you. You were crazy. And it was for, you know, many years. It was things balanced out, but it was like, I was just kind of nuts. Not like, the getting high wasn't good anymore. Like that was definitely something. Smoking, I wasn't like drugging. I wasn't using drug. I wasn't like getting baked all day.
You were smoking pot out of it, like organic
an
apple.
I was.
You weren't like a fucking
apple.
junkie.
But like No, it's not like heroin, coke. It was just, but that was enough to throw off whatever chemical imbalance I think that I had.
Yeah.
And it just tipped it. And so being in the city and just like trying to keep up this pace, I think of like keep getting better, just like I think ideas of grandeur and like fame. Even was I really liked that. I liked the idea of it, but I think it was like I was not stable enough to like get there, or try to like, go in that direction, even though I was like just loving the music. But there was this, like I said, this other side that was also trying to work it and promote and get more shows, and like knew that the stakes kept getting higher, and there was like pressure, there was pressure that I was inflicting on myself. So I think that was really, that was at the core of it. I mean, you guys were all great. And that's why I'm not even saying like, oh, okay, maybe, yeah, there was like a lot of drinking and stuff with some of the guys, but like.
Some of the guys. Yeah, no shit. See, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping you would like talk shit about.
Yeah, but
I was hoping you would really rip into shreds on Zach Miller. I'm just
Zach.
I feel like we got to take
bitch.
Zach down a peg or two. I just, he walks around West Philly with his nose in the air.
Cock of the walk.
Cock of the walk.
Hey, the thing is,
mayor of the town.
Why I'm not like even that. Why that's not the heart of it at all is because it literally could have been with anyone that I would. And so what I'm saying here is that I started to develop the relationship with the Pig Iron Theater guys. I was like, I got to be in that show with them. Then we, toured that show a bit out west, and then
the show was really
other
good.
Places. That was awesome. And then I even started to try to get more involved in the theater world, like bringing music in, and doing that. And it was like, so even there, I was like feeling blocked. I couldn't even handle like trying to do that. And I remember I was like, I really wanted to start acting because it was like, I love performing. So that naturally just kind of led into doing more acting stuff, and starting to try to go to auditions, get an agent in Philly. At one point got an extra part on like some TV show they were filming. It was called Hack back in the day. There was, I there was some taxi like cop thing.
You're trying to be an actor on a show called Hack.
It's actually really funny, isn't it? God, I never even put that together.
Amazing.
And so it's
Not to
incredible.
call you one, but it's kind of amazing.
That's pretty like poetic. It's poetic.
I love that.
So I remember at one point I was there on the set, and I couldn't even handle that. I left. I made up an excuse that I had some emergency. I couldn't even be there. So it basically, it was like, it could have been anybody in the band that I was playing with. And it was internal, the internal world that was off. That was off. And so then it was, I remember, coming out to Tucson the second time, and I left for pretty much all of August that year, and then came back, and I was like, I'm going to move out there. I'm going to move out here where I'm at. And so, it was really like just that it could have been anybody. Anybody could have been in the band, and there would have been this issue. There would have been this issue of just like not content where you are, not like not stable, just the stability. I think it was. I realize now, like I got a sensitive system that's like doing things that aren't kind of taking care of yourself in a way that's like a little more grounding, and in that sense, just all over the place, just can really get which is also I think a big strength that I have too, being able to like write and do these things that I've done. But anyway, coming back to it, it's that I think is the nitty gritty there. That's the shit. It was I just had to get away, had to get to like bigger, wide open spaces, more sunlight. And that was it. The dark winters back there are tough. I never realized it until I came out here, just how tough. And this has its own issues with the heat in the summer, but the winters are hard. And I think that took a toll at some point, where I was just like, oof. And just not having direction, man. I think you guys, I don't know what you were doing at the time. What were you doing during traffic jam time? Were you working?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember doing anything other. That was the kind of thing. All we ever did was play shows or go to shows.
We just did all that. That was it. It was,
painting houses, building decks, shit like that.
Yeah. 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 What do you think?
I don't think I was in grad school yet.
No,
I don't think so. I had started grad school at that point. So, all right. So
I was very vulnerable just then. I just let all that out.
I know. I can
edit. I can edit that.
I'm gonna edit it.
I'm gonna edit it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just edit that. I'm gonna cut and paste it.
Here. I'll help you with the edit. You know why? Zach Miller. That's the reason why.
That's why I left.
Goddamn Zach Miller.
Because of Zach.
The winters were dark. It was cold. Philly was a filthy city. And God damn it, if Zach Miller didn't ruin my goddamn life. See? I set it all up for you. Just edit that in.
I'll just put that right in there.
Zach looks like the villain.
Yes. He's the bad guy.
What a fun way to redo this whole history.
Yeah, so this is the alternate history here in the rewritten. This is the Tarantino version.
Well, I didn't even ask because I had I don't have any illusions about it because it was never acrimonious or anything like that. It was just, I was wondering. Because we're doing this, maybe there's something more to even talk about, but it turns out there isn't. It was just Zach, and that's how we'll remember.
No, but I mean, you can see that. You could see that with what I told you.
Oh my God, yes. No. I mean, you were running around like a maniac all the time, and
yeah, man.
Well, and at the same time, nothing made it easier. You're right, because it's just like you're running around and you're feeling responsible for all this stuff, and then
I didn't have a tether.
Me and Justin are just drunk over here doing this, and just acting like knuckleheads. And Justin was tough. Justin was tough to. Justin was a little tough to have in the band. He was, and I say this. I would say this if he was here because this is fine, and I'm you should have him on the show. I
would love to have him on the show. I totally want to because we have a lot to talk about. There's just so much history, and he was coming off of So this is the quick snapshot. I was a huge fan of Odd Normal. It was his band. It's an awesome band. I know you guys also started playing kind of after it's Turbo Time, after Traffic Jam, and then his band breaks up. Then I'm a huge fan. Then I start playing in Odd Normal later years of Odd Normal, and then Odd Normal breaks up, and then he's around, and I'm like, start Traffic Jam. He comes in. He was always a little bit pissed about that. I think just held this thing of like, this is. I don't know what he would say now, but it was just kind of this attitude or something. And I was just super happy and stoked that he was playing, I was like, this is great.
He's such a good musician.
But I think it was always kind of like, well, I don't have my band and, this and that. And I was like, but I was always like, great. Do your band. Yeah. I'm like super supportive of that. It was, it was never anything. So I think there was always just a little bit of like a little,
like resentment,
kind of resentful, teen kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, we were kids,
and we're still literally coming off of being teenagers, and
well, and that's the thing too, is, whatever you paid for with that, his drumming is awesome on this. Like, he would probably sit here and be like, whatever. He was always kind of like that, especially with drumming. But when I was listening to this stuff, I was thinking about how much personality everyone brought to it. Like, to me,
yes,
it's so easy to remember you as the personality, because clearly, the songs were, these like heartfelt songs that they were from so many of like your kind of personal, emotional experiences. And at our live shows, you were, again, you were like stuffing animals with fruit and shit like that. But just listening to the music, you hear so much personality. In my opinion, you hear so much personality in everybody's playing. Zach's playing. I like to think my playing, and I hear a ton of personality in Justin's drumming in that band. Like I was trying to do the mental exercise of like what it would sound like with a different type of drummer, and I kept kind of going through it in my head, and every other type of drummer I thought about would have sucked. Like, I just kept thinking, God damn, thank goodness Justin played, because this sounds so much fucking better because he did. And like, what he was able to add and how he was able to think about it. And so I know what you mean though, because he was brought from being like the band leader and songwriter to being a drummer.
Yeah.
I felt like he never like looked at drumming as being, I don't know, drummers, there's like a thing with, looking at the drummer in the band and all that kind of stuff. But
there's a stigma.
There's like this stigma, or like you're this like lesser musician in this, when, Justin is this really, really great musician and a songwriter and guitarist, and he can play everything and he can sing and harmonize. He's got a great ear, and, it's like he's a complete musician. Whoa, look at this picture.
Okay.
He's a complete musician. And I would agree with you. I do feel like maybe he didn't really dig it. He didn't really dig being a drummer, no. And I get that. I
understand. I get it. So here's I'm going to read our bios from our old website.
What is this? This is a website.
This is our old website. John Balzarini, a tall boy that grew up to be a tall man. Coming from near the mushroom capital of the world, John is employed to use his punk and metallic music background as rhythm for the traffic jam. Intimidating, but only as a friendly monster should be. He adds a unique style reminiscent of early punk rock. Give him a hug.
Jesus Christ.
Justin, a drumming virtuoso, Justin is nothing short of brilliant. He supplies energy and consistent beats for the traffic jam's musical explorations. One of Bradford's fellow New Jerseyans, Justin likes to make it fast and hard with plenty of lovin' to spare. There is hope for the future of rock and roll. Zach Miller, a classically trained jazz guitarist, Zach met the band through extensive research and riddle solving. He was born and raised in Carlisle, PA. Zach is no stranger to the sounds of country and pop rock. His licks fill the room with a sense of awe and inspiration. We can learn from this man. Bradford's is mine's a little longer, but here I'll read mine too.
I still want to blame it on Zach.
We can still blame this all on Zach. And this will capture some of my stuff here at the time. Bradford's a man of few words. He acts like a nervous wreck sometimes, but manages to convey his songs into a whirlpool of heartfelt emotion. He takes you to a sea of trouble and heartache, then sets sail for a new destination. Like a meshing of Johnny Cash and Elvis Costello, Bradford is spinning like a Ferris wheel at the circus he created some 3 years ago. Bradford is seen wearing a black suit at gigs, quote gigs, while the rest of the band is dressed as they please.
We were allowed to dress as we please.
You could do whatever you want. Lyrically, the songs are brilliant, and the melodies carry like a classic that was never known. Many of the songs are about heartbreak and the trials and tribulations of growing up lonely. This is straightforward rock and roll. When Bradford comes to your town, don't miss him, because he won't miss you. That's pretty fun. I like that.
Look at this. This is fun.
That's old school.
Wow.
So that... Yeah, anyway, I don't know what that was just fun to get into that. I remember
that is fun to get into.
Fun ones.
The 8s to 9s of people listening to this now are...
Now it's dropping. Now they just dropped. They've just stopped listening, and now we're down to 8s.
I'm willing to go until there's 1s to 2s.
I think we can go all the way. We're going to go on a marathon roll here, so we just so we hashed this all out to the very bitter end of how did this really end? How did the traffic jam really end? I've always wanted to do a reunion show. I've wanted to do that for a long time. That'd be really fun.
Well, I can't remember how to play
Bastards
anything,
and traffic
but
jam.
at the same time, it's awesome that music moved forward.
That's true.
That's
better. So here's one more thing. So here's another thing as far as, and I just want to say too, I'm like, when you said everyone brought something, it really did feel like a meshing and traffic jam of very powerful players coming together in this way that was a great mixture of.
Oh man, I'm not
music.
kidding. Like we were joking about Zach ruining the band, and maybe he did. I'll just leave that out there.
Yeah, maybe,
but the reality is actually that when he started playing guitar in that band, it was just like the stuff he brought. He's such a good guitarist, and he's so thoughtful, and like the layers and like textures he brought to that band, because you, me, and Justin come from more of a punk background.
That's true. Yeah.
And we all kind of have that kind of, like uniform energy that we would bring. Variations, and you were definitely going more pop, and there was like country elements and kind of a Johnny Cash-ish kind of even like Elvis Costello kind of stuff, early stuff.
Yeah.
Zach was just like, he like heard his own thing, and it always worked. And
it's true.
It really, really, see, that's one of the things about that recording is you can hear Zach, but boy, if we could have made that sit in there in the mix better to really hear what he was doing, man, it was so cool. It was really, really cool.
That's true.
How he did that. It really, that was one of the best things about that. Your songs were great. You were a great performer. And then Zach coming in there with that rhythm guitar and those leads and that just interesting approach to playing guitar for that band.
I'm just doing this. Cool. I'm just doing this podcast show so everyone that I know can just come on and tell me how good I am.
Well, I mean, we played with you.
Hey,
it's
everyone.
Not like we were studio guys. We weren't getting paid.
Hey, everyone, come see how good I look.
You gotta like the songs if you get nothing else from it. It's not like we got anything from playing in this band other than loving to playing in the band and liking to be around each other. And
I remember some really transcendent moments, live.
Yeah, totally.
On stage. I was just like, that's just amazing. Super, super incredible.
Yeah.
And, dude.
So Zach broke up Traffic Jam. He's the enemy.
I think we've been going almost 3 hours. This is like a Joe Rogan show. This is insane. Dude, how late are you?
We haven't
are you
even
okay?
talked about QAnon.
We haven't even had to do QAnon. I just want to say, so you got, after Traffic Jam, I left, and then I just want to like try to wrap it in a way that's like you went and with Justin started playing It's Turbo Time.
Right.
Awesome. You sent me these songs the other day. I might just have to.
Well, that kind of. So we were already doing this, right? So Justin was still.
You were.
Well, I feel like you were too. There were periods of time during Traffic Jam where I feel like I was playing guitar and you were playing bass, and they were odd normal songs. And Justin was always doing his thing the same way you were always kind of doing your thing during Bastards. And then when Traffic Jam stopped, Justin and I just switched
like full
over.
On to
just switched over, and we just did his tunes. Well, so we went to Maja and we recorded that thing, but that was
back
it.
To Maja. All we knew was
back to Maja. Well, I don't know. I guess that's all we knew, but
that's it. Everyone was doing Maja. It was the thing to do.
But these were like Justin's songs where we started off playing odd normal songs, and then he started writing what became the quintessential Turbo Time songs, and we just kind of went from there. And we played a lot of odd normal stuff. There's no doubt about it. I just kept thinking like, no, let's keep doing this stuff. This stuff's better.
It's really good. It's really, really good.
You should play Something Wicked. That is always, still to this day, like such a good song. Justin was writing these fucking radical songs, these radical fucking punk rock and roll songs. This goofy shit, and it was awesome.
That's a dude.
Yeah, I mean, it really got, and so we played with Justin's brother, Steven Stens, who was the drummer in this, and man, he was so good. He just like, Justin and Steven just had it down.
Yeah.
He was just there playing bass in between.
Did you guys do a bunch of shows during that time?
Yeah, we did a few shows. I don't feel like we did that many. Justin was playing drums in Dr. Dog at that point. So, Dr. Dog is, beginning, not even beginning, it's on the band's ascent. It's like becoming this huge band. Yeah. And Justin was the drummer at the time, and Turbo Time was like his band, when he came home from tour. We did Turbo Time stuff and we recorded that stuff. And, it was not dissimilar to like what you were talking about with Traffic Jam, where, he always kind of just looked at it, in my opinion. I'm not trying to speak for him in any way, shape, or form, but I always feel like he looked at himself as a drummer when I don't think he should have looked at himself as a drummer. If he played drums in a band, that's what he did in that band, but he wasn't just a drummer. And, so he wrote these great songs and we were playing them when he would, not be on tour or be back or whatever else. And I don't know, we played around Philly. It's the same kind of thing. Like you remember so many shows that I can't possibly remember. And I'm sure maybe Justin or Steven remember shows that I can't remember either. Yeah. It's probably, I'm always like fucking 6 beers into before we even get on stage. So I can't remember all these little details, but we played shows around town because Justin was, I don't know if you could say he took a note from you, but I mean, I don't know how you couldn't have taken a note from you with your like ability to kind of like get out there and say like, hey, we're this, book us and that kind of thing. Although Justin had been doing that long, he's older than you and I are. So he had been doing that long before either of us were playing in any kind of notable band. So I don't know. He got us gigs. He got some stuff going and we played some shows and recorded some stuff. And I think it was a lot of fun. And I think it was really good stuff too. He was writing good songs.
It was
he continued to write those songs even afterwards. And then I think he took one of those or two of those songs, maybe a couple of songs we were working on and made them part of his next band, the Get Real Gang. And so like, I feel like I was playing songs with him that ended up being part of that next band. That I know, as he kind of moved on to that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's fun.
It was really good stuff.
Dude, this has been so good. Let me ask you with these are 2 questions because I want to get you back on too. I mean, this has been
going anywhere.
A mega blast.
Anytime you want.
Well, let me ask this though. This is just non-musical, but what would you say is your favorite movie?
The Road Warrior.
Wow.
Love The Road Warrior.
Nice.
It's not a great answer because on a different day, it could be a different movie. There's something amazing.
Let's say on a different day. What would the different day? What would it be? Maybe?
I can watch Die Hard just about any time.
Die Hard?
Die Hard rules.
Awesome.
But I think the Road Warrior is like, I've said that for a lot of years. When people ask me that, it's almost become like my stock answer.
Yeah.
Because it is one of my favorite movies, and I think it's, it's like just a ripping badass movie. It's super unique for its time. It, total anti-hero and, Australian weirdness. It's like, it's a goddamn car chase at the end.
It's so good.
It's an amazing movie. It really is just like one of the best movies ever, and I love it so much. But
that's awesome.
I got a million favorite movies.
What about your favorite toy growing up?
Favorite toy
that you had as a kid?
We got the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Okay.
In, I believe, 1988 or 87 to 88.
Yeah.
Man, did that hit the mark?
That would be it.
Really hit the mark.
That would do it.
I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at that same Nintendo Entertainment System.
You have the same Nintendo.
It's sitting there. It's not hooked up, but it's just like on the the little thing with the cable box and that bullshit. And I got that Nintendo sitting there, the same one that I got back then. It looks nice. It looks great.
That's awesome.
They did right.
They did real
right
good.
By us.
They did good.
They gave us Super Mario Brothers. They gave us that Duck Hunt. That Duck Hunt didn't last long, but it was good for its moment.
Duck Hunt was fun as like a new thing, but it was
a new thing.
That was
You're 8, 9 years old. It's great.
Dude, what do you want to? Anything you want to shout out or promote or say anything about?
I don't really need to promote anything. We talked about unleashthebastards.com.
Did we say that?
That's it.
People can go there and just get it. They can just pick it up.
6s of 7s of people can go.
At this point, we're down. We're dropping. It's dropping.
I don't need to promote anything.
Because I'm still a huge punk rock fan. I've gotten way back into like punk music since this quarantine. I think you and I were talking this summer about it at some point, and just like going through, there's all these documentaries I had never seen, and I was just like listening to stuff.
There's a lot of that stuff out, and there's books. I'm reading like the book. I'm reading Bad Religion's book right now.
You are? Oh.
And
wow.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's fun to know.
Yeah.
I read like NoFX's book.
Oh, that one.
They're like the Motley Crue of fucking punk rock. I mean,
were they?
What a bunch of messes.
Oh, God. Oh,
hey, it's like really salacious and, like wild and over the top. And this is not me advertising it to anybody, but I read that. And and there's good documentaries. There's that there's that Lookout. Did you see that Lookout Records documentary? It's like that East Bay.
Yes. Yes. That one.
One is really great.
That was fantastic. That was an awesome East Bay. If you want to know any East Bay punk, Gilman Street, Lookout Records.
And Maximum Rock and Roll and that whole scene. By Tim Dog, who was mentioned earlier, he and I went and saw a live screening of that in Philadelphia when it was first coming out. And there was like a Q&A afterwards, and like I just knew the answer to every trivia question. It's like so dorky. So I finally raised my hand and answered a question, and they gave me Green Day tickets.
Are you serious?
They did, and I just gave them away I can't remember who I gave them to. I just kind of posted them on Instagram or something, and somebody was like, "Yeah, I'll take those," and they got Green Day tickets.
Oh man, that's awesome. That's a great
one.
But
at the end of the day, we're living in the rising tide of fascism and authoritarianism. This is like a good time for people to make aggressive, angry music instead of like fucking love songs and
it's true.
So lonely songs.
Feel a little harder edge coming, and it's it stirs all that pot there that's been brewing.
It ought to stir that pot.
Totally.
It really should.
Totally. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I'm so stoked. I can't wait to talk to you again. And just be good, my friend.
Yeah. And to all those fans, the 3s to 4s of you, thanks for sticking around.
You stuck with us. And you're duly rewarded by knowing the secret of the mystery of the Sphinx.
That's right. The Hollow Earth.
The Hollow Earth. This is it.
There was a face on Mars, apparently.
Yeah, you get all that right now. You get to hear all that the real truth. All right, buddy.
Cheers.
And a wop babalooba, a wop bam zoom. That did it. We did it. The Balls Man and I talked. Lot of stories, a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. I realized, this was kind of late at night for me, but especially for John. I've slowly become an early bird. I don't know. John might be a night owl, but and I feel like I'm best as an afternoon wren, if that makes sense. We got to get into some fun stuff, man. I really loved going through this. I'm also like, I guess there's bragging rights here. I feel like Unleash the Bastards was an extraordinary punk band. I really like that. I'm saying this because I was a fan. I'm a total fan. So, and I became a part of the band. But I think when that happens, it's just I'm allowed to say that. But I'm really honored I got to be in the group, and like we keep stressing over and over, we're emphasizing you can go and download the album for free. Get the album, please. There's some live stuff up I've put up over the years on YouTube, but it's just like so much fun, man. What a good time it was. And then, Balls and I being in Traffic Jam together and all those fun stories and shows we would play, there's just a lot of good memories there. Good memories that we had together. Yeah, I really loved catching up with Balls, man. I really want to have him back. As I've said, this is kind of like I want to get through these music series in this way to hopefully shed some light on it for folks that weren't there if they're curious about it, but also just to like folks that were there. It's fun. It's fun to go back through this and talk about it. I had a great time. Balls Man, good work. Good job, buddy. You get 5 gold stars. Now you can go get a personal pan pizza, the place of your choosing. Actually, I'd say we're going to get a Capriati sandwich next time I'm back. That's the deal. It's a little plug for Capriati's. Go get some of their food, some of their chow, and snarfle it down. One of the stories I'm remembering after we finished the show here was the time that Unleash the Bastards got booked at this really weird college party, tiki themed show with there was an ice luge and tiki bar and all. It was kind of nutty. It was a weird place. I definitely remember some weird stuff from that show. Yeah, really, really wild. So, gosh, I can't wait to have Balls Man back. And we'll get into some other fun stuff. So I want to leave this off with a quote from John Balzarini song from Unleash the Bastards, Nuts and Bolts. The city is in flames, and I can do what I want. Yes, you can, John Balzarini. You do exactly what you want. All right. Be well, everyone. See you next time.